Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Bacon. Welcome to the show, y'all. Let me give you a real quick recap of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Jersey, look here, he's under fire. They got the evidence against him, right? But he makes a call to the streets and have his guys go by the house and get the paperwork from the girl, right? They had to put hands on him, you know what I'm saying? Let her understand that it was real, you feel me? She gives up the paperwork, and now they got the envelope with white boy's name on the outside of it. Plus, they done talked to the brother in the penitentiary, the one that was being paid originally by Jersey when he first got to the other institution after he had gotten off PC for being stuck, right? So they know what's going on now. They know what's going on. But they want to find out how widespread it is. Who all knows about this? Even though they got the paperwork, Jersey's been able to convince individuals that they're trying to blackmail him and make him to be somebody that he's not. And because everybody's eating off his plate, they don't want to believe that. They don't want to believe that. They're not going to. They're not going to. But here we go. Let me get to it, right? Here's the thing. Now, white boy, his name is on the envelope. His government name. So they know who he is. So Jersey, he makes a call to the other penitentiary. He tells them, get him. Get him to the phone. So he brings him to the phone, right? And look, here's the thing. The brother that gave the information, right, that put him on the officer that was able to let them see that, he in the room when this call is being made, right? He in the room. He don't really know who white boy is. He don't know that he's an infiltrator he's part of the Vikings, but they on some cross-out stuff, okay? They trying to get back in play. So he's an infiltrator, but he's an infiltrator that's trying to do right by the Vikings because he's a Viking himself. You see what I'm saying? So look, they got him on the phone and they telling him, it's Jersey. He had never heard Jersey's voice or anything, right? So he trying to play. He said, I'm a big admirer, man. He said, I'm a big admirer, man. I was on Max, everybody talking about you, this, that, and the third. He said, look, I was just trying to find out who you are, man. I'm trying to follow in your footsteps. He said, oh, okay. He said, so how did you end up, you know what I'm saying, on this old fake stuff, sending this paperwork down here that's phony like this? He said, bro, it ain't me. It ain't me that's talking bad about you. It's the other brother. I was talking to the other brother about you and telling him how, you know what I'm saying, how stand up you are. He the one said you was the police. Look here. Jersey said, who you talking about? And he gives him the brother's name. And the brother in the room, right, it's like 6 or 7 of them in the room and they all around the phone. The brother in the room, he said, hold up, man. He said, don't be coming like that. He said, you the one came down here answering all these questions. So Jersey just cut into it. He said, but how did you get on this time and calling me the police? Jersey knew that this brother had been at that penitentiary when he got stuck. But he got to play it smooth because he wants everybody to continue to believe that he got blackmailed. You feel what I'm saying? He wants everybody to believe that this is stuff being made up. He can't come off and be like, okay, you know what I'm saying, you was down there. He said, where you get this from, man? Why you making this up about me, man? So dude, feeling desperate, he like, man, I don't believe none of that, man. I don't believe none of that. So he says it. He said, man, the police showed us this on the computer, man. I ain't got nothing to do with what's on the computer. Jersey goes silent. He trying to figure out what to say because if it is in fact on the computer and them other brothers in the room believe it and then they get that officer to show him and they see it, this could snowball out of control for him. So he said, look, this is what I'm going to do. And it's the last time, man. You ain't going to get a pass from me no more. Y'all know how I get down. He starts to assert himself with it, right? He said, look, leave this alone, man. I ain't going to tolerate somebody trying to slander my name, man. And everybody in the room said, man, that's what's up. And they left it alone. Jersey gets off the phone, but he's not comfortable at all, so he makes a call to the Internal Affairs, and he tells the Internal Affairs the officer's name, right? Internal Affairs, they get to it immediately. They go pull up the computer, they talking to him, say, you show some inmates this information, you are fired. They get rid of him. Gone, done. The threat is neutralized. Ain't nobody gonna be able to get access to this information no more. No more. Now Jersey's back in play to the point to where he's comfortable in doing what he's doing. But see, white boy know that it's real. The other brother know that white boy threw under the bus. He know that it's real. They're the only two left that are out on the compound and know that this dude can't be trusted. But they don't have any power. They don't have any way to get anything done to him. They don't know what to do, right? They don't know what to do. So white boy, he calls old Gal. Now, Gal is like the central phone for all of the Vikings. They can all call and this and that. So when he called on the cell phone, he's talking to her. He trying to understand what's going on. And she spooked. She said they came over, they beat her up, smacked her around a little bit, told her that, that keep playing, there's going to be more consequences and repercussions. And white boy telling her, I saw this myself with my own eyes. He said, but won't nobody believe it. And she said, I believe it. They came too hard. She said, I believe it, but what can we do? What can we do? And he told her, he said, look, can you come to visit? We need to talk face to face. So she was like, yeah, I'm going to get on your visitation list, you know what I'm saying? We can visit. He said, no, that'll take too long. He said, I'm going to sign you up for a special visit so you can come this weekend, but then you still try to get on my list, sign in a visitation form. That's going to take longer. She said, okay, I'll be ready. Let me know if it gets approved. He turns in a special visit. She gets approved for that weekend. So she tell her dude, when he called, I got to go see white boy. He said, he got to talk to me face to face. So her dude was like, look, be careful, because dude ain't playing about this. She said, no, we're going to be careful. But she said, something got to be done. And he told everybody in agreement with that, but what can we do? Dude is strong in the paint, and he's serious about this stuff. He's serious about it. So the weekend comes and she go visit white boy, stay up and visit. She goes to the vending machine and gets him some food and all this and that. And they're sitting at the table. She looking at white boy. She thinks he's kind of cute, but she know she can't play no games like that. You know what I'm saying? So white boy look at her. He looking at her. She kind of fine, but he know he can't play no games like that either. He tells her, look, what can we do? How do we undermine him without him finding out about it? How is he able to do this? And she said, look, I've been doing this a long time, way longer than you, way longer than my dude. Anytime anybody in the paint that strong, they got the police on their side for real. How did he know that they looked at that computer? How did AI come down and bump down like that fast? And then white boy told her they got alerts on the computer. They must have known that somebody accessed it. But how would he know? How would he know? And she said they had to go to him. And the question becomes, why would they go to him? Because he's working with them. And then the next question becomes, what is it that he could be working on with them that's so serious that they willing to hurt people about? Undercover investigation. Everybody in the Vikings was at risk. Jersey had been compromised from the very beginning. How do you get somebody that's been working with them and has been allowed, with the help of his family, to move up the ladder and do all types of things, right? And then it's like a light bulb went off in her head. His family. His family is the source of all the things that he's got. They've been doing it for generations. She said, I know that family, know of them. They don't play. She said if they thought he was the police, they'd cut him off. They cut him off. And then white boy said if they cut him off, then he ain't no use to nobody. And then we could get him. He looked at her, she looked at him, they looked at each other. And they was like, that's it. That's it. But she said, I gotta convince him. I gotta convince his family. And she said, how do we get that paperwork again? He said, we can't. He said, we can't get it no more. Ain't no way to get it. She said, you know what though? We might not need it, because with people like this, just the rumor that he might be the police sometimes is enough. If we spread it in the streets, it can get out of control real fast. because they dealing with big boy shot callers. They don't want to go down. They'll throw him overboard real fast. So they sit there, and white boy, he eat, you know what I'm saying? And they laugh and they talk and they like, yeah, we finally got it. But he said, look, you can't tell nobody, not even your dude, about it, because he might say something and it spreads. She said, you right. We got to keep this on the hush until it's too far out of control for him to do anything about it. She's like, yeah, we got to keep it quiet. So after he finished eating, she gets up and they pretend to be, cool, and they hug, and then he shoot his shot. He said, ooh-wee. He said, if you wasn't with bruh, I'd be trying you right now. She said, if I wasn't with him, you wouldn't have to try me. I'll let you. Then she turned around and she sashay up out of that thing, throwing that thing, letting him get a look at it, Give him something to think about tonight when he laying back in the bunk, And she leaves on up out of there. She gets back to the house. Now she's starting to figure out what it is she need to do. How can she get to the people that would pay attention to what she's saying without Jersey finding out? Because these his people, y'all. These his people. So she do what they do. You understand what I'm saying? She went down to the spot where they getting that money. And she said, how can I get to somebody, my partner that in the penitentiary, is my man, he cool with Jersey, and he want me to get a message to Jersey's people. He can't get on the phone and call. It's secret. And they're like, tell me. I'll take it to him. She was like, nah, I can't do that. Jersey told me not to tell nobody. I got to tell his people face to face. They look at her like, now, go ahead on. Ain't nobody finna do that. Because you can't just, listen to me, y'all. You can't just walk up to people like that and tell them you got a message and take it to somebody that they work for, and then they gonna believe you. That ain't how that work. She said, look, why don't you just take this message to them and tell them I need to talk to them. It's about Jersey. They gonna want to hear it. Tell them I just came from the penitentiary, and it's something that they need to know about Jersey. It's important. It's life-threatening. But he can't say it on the phone. Even if they ask him on the phone, he can't say it. In fact, he told them, don't even ask about nothing. Just continue to act like everything is okay. And see, it's one thing about people in the streets, right? You can play to their paranoia. People that's getting money, especially getting the money on the level that they on, they ain't finna take no chances on that. If you tell them, man, don't say nothing on the phone, they ain't gonna say nothing on the phone. Especially if they think that it's another way that the message can come to them. They don't know if this is true or not. And what's the harm in finding out? So when they take the message to the top shot callers, they were like, go get her and bring her to the spot. Now see, they got a separate spot, separate from where they lay their heads, right? Where they discuss business and all this and that, right? Because they make sure that, can't nobody hear, don't no phones work, or none of that in this area, right? Because they don't want nobody being able to set them up and record them and doing none of that. So they get her to the spot. And she tell them, she said, look, I know y'all ain't gonna believe this. I know you ain't gonna believe this. But I want to visit my man today. And he told me some stuff that he saw on the computer that he can't get off the computer. But Jersey got a copy of it right now. And they're like, well, what is it? Why does it concern us? And she told him, she looked at him, she said, please, I don't want no trouble. I just think y'all need to know this, and you need to tell the people, that you work for. They said, well, what is it? Come on with it. And they said, you got 5 minutes to come on with this. We're not playing with you. Go on and tell us what it is so we can get away from here. She told him, she said, Jersey working with the police. And they look at each other real quick, like, what do you mean? She said, my man read some paperwork on the computer about Jersey the other day. He said he'd been working with the police from the beginning when he went into the penitentiary. And now it's spread to the streets. He's trying to get out. He's trying to get out of prison. And he's working with them to get out. And the only way he's going to be able to do that, he got to help them take some people down. And they looking at her, and they trying to figure what to do about that. Because if they take this to his family, and they don't believe it, they might hurt them. And you know what I mean. But if they don't take it to his family, Jersey's family, and it turned out to be true, then all of them lose. Can't nobody eat no more because they are the plug. Major. This is going to affect people all across the state. So they're trying to figure out what to do. And she said, look, I don't want no trouble. She said, let me tell you something else. We had the paperwork, but he sent somebody to the house to beat me up, and they took it. And they said, do you know who they are? She said, I've never seen them before in my life. And they said, would you recognize them if you seen them again? And she said, yeah, I'll never forget them. Look, right here, they slapped me. She said, I'll never forget them. They said, okay. I said, look, you go home and you don't say nothing about this. We got to talk to somebody else about this. So they get out of there. And when they get down the street, just right when they got phone service power, they call the man. And they tell him everything that they were just told. And he tells them, get to the house right now. And this person that they're going to meet, this is Jersey's uncle. His daddy's brother. Do you understand? His daddy's brother. His dad is in this too. They get to the house. He want to hear it. They telling him everything. So he says, who was it that went by her house? She said she don't know him. She ain't never seen him before in her life, but she would recognize him if she seen him again. So Jersey's uncle, he said nothing. He said, this has got to be somebody that come off of our crew that went by there. Who else could he send by there to do that? So his uncle said, look, before we take this to his daddy, we better have proof. We better have proof. So let's find out who he sent to that gal's house. So they start asking around. Who stays in touch with Jersey in the penitentiary? And it was some younger dudes, you know what I'm saying, that be down on the block, that be taking care of the business, you know what I'm saying, for the Vikings and for the family. They said, we did that. We took care of the business for them. We went over and we had to smack gal around a little bit, you know what I'm saying. They trying to blackmail Jersey. You know how this thing go. And they said, what did she get? What did she give y'all? They said, she gave us some paperwork. They said, where is it at? They said, we got it put up. I said, go get it. They go get it. They said, why are you keeping this? They look at him. Look, I told you all this stuff's about crosses, right? They look at him and say, well, we just thought that we shouldn't tear this up. But did Jersey tell you to tear this up? They were looking at him. They said, yeah. We was going to get around to tearing it up, but you know. And then he looked at him. This is his uncle. He looks at him. He said, man, take them in the back, man. Beat them up real good. Send them on their way. Y'all can't work the block for 3 days. That's a punishment, y'all. So they take him in the back and beat the brakes off of him, send him home for 3 days because they kept the paperwork. But think about it. If they hadn't kept the paperwork, it wasn't going to be no proof of what happened. You understand what I'm saying? What's really going on. But see, his uncle was mad that he saw that they might be trying to use this to blackmail. I'm telling you, the game is full of crosses. The game is full of crosses. And if you want to hear how this plays out, how his uncle is finna approach Jersey's daddy with this paperwork, you're going to have to tune in to the next episode, right? This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.
I'm getting so tired.